They thought you were a ghost in the background, an insignificant flicker of silence, a shadow too meek to matter. They assumed your departure was their victory, a closing act to a story they rewrote in their favor. Oh, but they never understood. Silence is the prelude to the most deafening storm. And now, their world shudders under the weight of the wound you left behind, an absence so profound, so merciless, that it seeps into the marrow of their existence. They were so drunk on their illusions of control that they never saw it coming. The hollow ache, the phantom pain of what they lost, or rather, what they threw away. You walked away without a word, without a plea, without the grand theatrics they expected. No explosion, no destruction, no final showdown, just a ghostly quiet that should have been their salvation. But it wasn't, because there is something far worse than a vengeful storm. It's the abyss that follows, when the one they underestimated simply ceases to exist in their world. And now, oh now, the horror sets in. The walls they built around their delusions are cracking. The air they breathe has turned stale, and the whispers that once spoke of triumph now carry only regret. You see, they counted on your rage. They expected screams, retaliation, a desperate grasp for justice. But they never realized that the most brutal form of retribution isn't an act of war. It's absence. It's the rotting silence left behind when someone who carried the weight of their world suddenly vanishes. A gaping void that festers like an untended wound, throbbing, pulsing, reminding them every waking moment that they are lesser, weaker, hollow without you. They never knew that sometimes the worst kind of suffering isn't being destroyed, it's being left alone with the truth. Now, they live in the wreckage of their own making, surrounded by ghosts of the choices they made. The echoes of your presence linger in every empty moment, every unfinished sentence, every familiar scent that brings a knife-sharp reminder of what they lost. They see you in the reflection of their regrets, in the shadows that stretch long in the dimming light. They hear you in the silence that wraps around them like a noose, tighter with every breath. They feel you in the parts of themselves that have begun to decay, unraveling at the seams. They thought they could erase you, but what a cruel joke. It is they who are fading, withering under the weight of their own emptiness. You were their foundation, their secret lifeline, the force that kept their world in motion. And now, without you, everything crumbles. Their laughter rings hollow, their victories feel weightless, and their pleasures turn to dust in their hands. They wanted power, but what is power when it exists in a vacuum? They sought dominance, but who is left to dominate when the only one who ever truly mattered is gone? Their kingdom, once grand, is nothing but a wasteland of echoes, and they are left to rot in the ruins of their arrogance. They underestimated the kind of monster silence could breed. Because you see, revenge doesn't always wear the mask of bloodshed and war cries. Sometimes, revenge is the slow, torturous realization that they were never as strong as they believed, that their power was borrowed, their confidence an illusion, their dominion built on the fragile threads of a presence they took for granted. And now, those threads are severed and they are unraveling piece by agonizing piece. But here's the real horror. The scar your absence left, it doesn't heal. It doesn't fade with time, doesn't soften with nostalgia. No, it festers, it rots, it deepens with every passing day as they watch the world move on without them, as they come to terms with the cold, hard truth. You never needed them. But they were nothing without you. And oh, that is a fate worse than any blade could deliver. They wake up in the middle of the night, drenched in sweat, hands grasping for something, someone who is no longer there. They try to fill the void with noise, with distractions, with desperate attempts to rebuild what they destroyed. But it's all futile. Every face in the crowd reminds them of you. Every fleeting moment of silence amplifies the ache in their chests. The laughter of others cuts through them like a jagged blade, because it's a cruel reminder of what they can never have again. Happiness, purpose, wholeness, all of it walked away with you, and they are left to rot in the empty shell of their once glorious existence. Time, they thought, would be their ally. That the ache would dull, the scar would fade, the guilt would become a distant whisper. But time is a merciless beast, and instead of healing, it only magnifies their suffering. Each passing day serves as a reminder of what they lost. Each year cements the undeniable truth that they were the architects of their own downfall. They see your name in places they least expect, hear your voice in the wind, and feel the crushing weight of their own mistakes every time they close their eyes. You have become their curse, their tormentor, their inescapable ghost. And the beauty of it all? You did nothing. No vengeance, no fury, no wrath. You simply walked away, and in doing so, you sentenced them to a fate worse than any retribution they could have imagined. They thought they won when you left. But now, as they sit amidst the wreckage of their own making, as the silence grows louder, as the emptiness consumes them, they finally understand the truth. You didn't lose them, they lost you. And that is a punishment beyond their darkest nightmares. They wake up gasping, clawing at the sheets, drenched in the sweat of their own regrets. The room feels smaller now, the walls pressing in like a noose tightening with every passing second. The world outside moves forward, indifferent to their silent suffering, but inside them, the echoes of what they lost reverberate like a never-ending scream. They swore they could erase you, rewrite the narrative, fill the void with distractions, but you weren't just a presence. You were the axis upon which their reality turned. And now, the balance is shattered. The absence they once dismissed as trivial has grown into an abyss, swallowing them whole. They reach for their vices, the old comforts that once drowned out the creeping voices in the back of their mind. A drink, a meaningless conversation, a night spent trying to forget. But nothing works. The numbness that once shielded them has betrayed them, leaving their mind raw and exposed. The taste of indulgence has turned to ash, and every fleeting moment of pleasure feels like a cruel joke, mocking their hollow existence. They wanted to believe they were invincible, that they could sever ties without consequence. But here they are, drowning in the very emptiness they wished upon you. It started slow, a flicker of discomfort, a moment of quiet unease. But then it grew, consuming their thoughts, creeping into every waking second like a shadow that refuses to be ignored. They see you in the places they used to go, hear your voice in the whispers of the wind, feel your absence in the coldness of their own reflection. And the worst part? It's not anger, not hatred, not even guilt. It's something far more terrifying, a realization that they were nothing without you. They tell themselves it's temporary, that time will mend the wound, that they will rebuild, that the pain will fade. But deep down, they know the truth. This isn't a wound, it's a scar that won't heal. A permanent brand burned into their soul, a reminder that they gambled with something irreplaceable and lost. And no matter how many faces they surround themselves with, no matter how much noise they create to drown out the silence, they will never outrun what they did. Their laughter has lost its edge. Their confidence has turned brittle. They carry the weight of something invisible, yet crushing, a burden they can't name, but feel in every fiber of their being. They see it in the eyes of those who knew you, those who still speak your name with reverence. It infuriates them. How dare the world continue to remember you when they were the ones who tried to erase you? How dare the universe refuse to bend to their will? But the universe does not care for their arrogance. It moves in ways they never foresaw, crafting a cruel poetry where they are left gasping for air, forever haunted by what they let slip through their fingers. The very power they once wielded so recklessly has turned against them, and now they are trapped, prisoners of their own undoing. They watch as you rise, as your name becomes legend, as your absence carves a legacy far greater than their presence ever could. And it drives them mad. They thought they could discard you, cast you aside like a forgotten chapter. But the irony? The story was never theirs to control. It was always yours. And now, they are merely footnotes in the saga of your resurgence, ghosts lingering in the background of a world that has long since moved past them. They wanted to be gods, untouchable, immortal in their own right. But gods do not beg for second chances. Gods do not shatter under the weight of their own regrets. But they do. They whisper your name in the dark, not out of love, not out of hate, but out of something far worse, desperation. A silent plea to whatever force governs this cruel world, asking for the impossible, to turn back time, to undo what cannot be undone. But fate does not grant mercy to the arrogant, and time does not listen to the cries of those who brought ruin upon themselves. They are forced to watch, to suffer, to drown in the agony of their own choices. And you don't even have to lift a finger. That is the most poetic vengeance of all. Because you never needed revenge. You simply needed to leave. And now they are left to rot in the wake of your absence, suffocating under the weight of a punishment they cannot escape. A punishment called regret. But regret is a slow poison, one that does not kill quickly. It lingers, festers, burrows deep into the bones and refuses to let go. They try to outrun it, to distract themselves with hollow victories and shallow connections. But the echoes of what they lost always return, growing louder in the silence of the night. They try to convince themselves that they have moved on, that they have won. But every smile they force, every laugh they feign, is a brittle thing, cracking under the weight of the truth. And the truth? It is merciless. It does not soften with time, does not fade with distraction. It only grows sharper, cutting deeper with each passing day. They see reminders of you in places they never expected, in the words of strangers, in the melody of a forgotten song, in the fleeting expressions of those who still hold you in their hearts. They tell themselves they do not care, that you are nothing more than a ghost. But ghosts have a way of haunting the living, don't they? It gnaws at them, this unfinished story, this chapter they thought they could close without consequence. They watch from the shadows as you rise, untethered and unstoppable. and they realize something that terrifies them more than anything else. You never needed them. But they needed you more than they ever understood. And now, stripped of your presence, stripped of the illusion of control, they are left with nothing but the hollow echoes of what could have been. A never-ending loop of regret, a cycle they cannot escape. Because you were never their downfall. They were their own undoing. They linger in the wreckage, shackled to a torment that gnaws at the marrow of their soul. The silence is no longer just a void. It is a merciless judge, pronouncing its verdict with every passing second. The air around them is thick with an agony they cannot name, yet feel in every hollow breath, every unspoken thought. They had believed themselves architects of fate, sculptors of consequence. But now, they are nothing more than fractured remnants of a game they thought they controlled. And you are no longer a player on their board. You are the storm that shattered it. They pace through the ruins of their own making, searching for an escape from the ghosts that now infest every corner of their existence. Their hands tremble, reaching for distractions, but the world has turned its back on their pleas. They scroll through meaningless conversations, drown themselves in hollow entertainment, lose themselves in temporary indulgences, but none of it numbs the truth. Their punishment is not the whispers of others, nor the judgment of the world. It is the prison of their own awareness, the brutal, unshakable truth that they dismantled the very thing that gave them meaning. And now, they exist in the emptiness left behind. Regret is an unrelenting parasite, devouring them from the inside. It feeds on the memories they tried to suppress, on the moments they disregarded. Every forgotten kindness, every stolen glance, every echo of laughter they once dismissed as insignificant has transformed into a blade, slicing through their delusions. They were the ones who severed the ties. They were the ones who poured the poison into the well. But they never expected to be the ones left thirsting. Time has become a cruel tormentor, stretching each moment into an eternity. They hear your absence in the stillness of the night, feel it in the hollow spaces between their heartbeats. It was once so easy to pretend, to act as if you were nothing more than a fleeting shadow in their past. But the mind is a treacherous thing. It does not forget. It forces them to relive every choice, every mistake, every careless word that led to this abyss. And worse still, it does not allow them the solace of oblivion. It keeps them awake, replaying the past like a broken record, ensuring that they never escape the weight of what they lost. You have not returned. You do not need to. The power they once held over you has turned to dust, slipping through their fingers no matter how desperately they try to grasp it. They crafted their own downfall with their arrogance, and now they are left with nothing but the ruins of their own making. You have risen beyond them, eclipsed their reach, become something far greater than they ever anticipated, and they hate it. Not because they wish you harm, not anymore, but because it is a reminder of their own smallness, of their own insignificance in the grand design of your resurgence. They see you now, but not as they once did. You are no longer the person they underestimated, no longer the pawn they thought they could maneuver. You are something untouchable, something unstoppable. Your absence has become a legend, your silence a blade sharper than any words. And they are left with only the echoes of a past that will never return. Desperation festers in their veins. They try to rebuild, try to find a new foundation to stand on, but every step they take is haunted by the shadow of what they destroyed. They seek solace in the faces of strangers, but no one looks at them the way you did. They search for comfort in empty distractions, but nothing fills the void that you left behind. And so they spiral, further and further, deeper into the abyss they once wished upon you. The irony is exquisite. They were the ones who cast the stone, who set fire to the bridges, who turned their back and laughed as you burned. But they did not realize that fire has a way of spreading, that destruction does not discriminate. And now, they stand amidst the wreckage, their hands stained with the consequences of their own cruelty. There is no hero to save them, no redemption arc to soften the blow. This is not a story of forgiveness. This is the cold, unforgiving justice of the universe at work. They wonder if you think of them, if there is even a shred of acknowledgement left in your mind for their existence. But they already know the answer. You have moved beyond them, ascended past the realm where their words, their thoughts, their very presence could ever touch you again. That is the part that destroys them the most. Not your anger, not your revenge, but your indifference. The realization that they are nothing more than ghosts in a world that no longer belongs to them. Their suffering is not loud. It does not demand attention. It festers in the quiet, in the loneliness, in the spaces where their pride once stood unshaken. It is a slow decay, an unraveling of everything they built themselves upon. They no longer laugh with the same certainty, no longer walk with the same arrogance. They are haunted, not by you, but by the absence of you. And no matter how far they run, how deeply they bury themselves in distractions, they will never be free from the torment of their own making. You were never their enemy. You never needed to lift a finger, never needed to utter a single word in retaliation. The universe took care of that for you. It turned the mirror upon them, forced them to face the wreckage of their own choices, made them understand, truly understand, what it means to lose something irreplaceable. And that is a torment no vengeance could ever surpass. So let them rot in the silence they created. Let them choke on the emptiness they once wished upon you. Let them wake every morning to the same unbearable truth, that they destroyed themselves long before they ever tried to destroy you. This is not your revenge. This is their reckoning.